Okay, everyone, welcome back again to my channel. And again and again and again and again, we have Johnny X Fire here as my guest star to talk about more deeper about Dota in Southeast Asia. John, how you doing, man?
Doing good. It's been a busy month or so. We've had a lot of events. It's slowing down a little bit going into TI, so it's a nice little break. But it's been pretty decent here, Dejit.
Okay, that's great. How's EWC? I heard and saw that your flight there, and then you're doing the one or maybe a few games to do the shortcasting there. What do you think about the event?
I think the EWC for me attending as a caster was great. I think
Mm-hmm.
being on LAN again is always good. Me and Mike don't get as many opportunities as others, but I'm still very grateful for the ones we get. The fact that we get any opportunities actually kind of insane with this environment for casting right now. It's not been the friendliest to like talent who aren't like old guard and the more popular like new guard, which has integrated in.
Mm-hmm.
The event itself, I would say it has shortcomings. I think the Esports World Cup is interesting. I think it's cool that you bring in all of these esports. I got to see some of my caster friends from the Philippines, casting Mobile Legends. I got to see them a little bit before we had to fly out. But I think the event itself does have some formatting things that I would like to see improved. I think it's very unique format. Let's put it
Mm-hmm.
that way. Very unique when compared to every other tournament, and I think that's certainly something that they could look at. Mind you, I do believe for the Esports World Cup, this is something consistent across all titles. They do run,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's all single elimination. So I mean, that's the way the Esports World Cup runs. Maybe as a time constraint, an organizational constraint, with running like what 20 plus titles in the span of 2 months. So you probably can't run double LM. But yeah, I think it was fun. It was good to cast on LAN again. It
Mm-hmm.
was good to see Mike in person again and all the other casters and the players. But yeah, the format's a bit interesting.
Okay, so how long exactly you're not meeting Mike in person after the last event? Maybe before EWC, like 3, 2, 3, 6 months.
Yeah, around 6 months. I think the last time we met was in January for
January.
Acer Predator APAC final.
Ah,
So
okay,
yeah.
okay. Since you mentioned about the format, how do you think the format that have a I'm not saying that one single elimination and then you're gonna be go home because it's coming from group stage and then
Mm.
you go for the still a bubble bracket with a single elimination. Is it good format for a big tournament like EWC? Do you think, John?
Mm, I think it has its own drama. I think it was a little bit interesting, but I don't think it's been for me in my personal taste.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think there's been one format I've personally
Ah.
gravitated towards that I have really enjoyed, and this is a format that I think you could actually run single LM on.
Oh.
I feel like Swiss group stages are actually the most exciting. I think there's a lot of drama building in. You get to see the relatively even matchups on paper. This is how you get the most even matchups across all the teams because they kind of get dragged down. A 0-1 team plays a 0-1 team, and they all kind of square off in the same score line. So I think that's more entertaining. I think the groups of
Mm-hmm.
Esports World Cup were unique. Again, I think it's good to have tournaments with different formats. I don't think everyone should be running Swiss, even though
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the best. I think having variety is good to figure out where you get the most drama. But I think the what was it, 4 team groups? Yeah, 4 team groups. First in each group of four, over 4 groups would go straight to playoffs. Second place would be in the second round of LM, and
Mm.
yeah, it's a little bit interesting. I feel like um, very unforgiving, but that's the stakes of the Esports World Cup, I
Yep.
suppose.
Okay, so again, since you're mentioning something that may tickle me a little bit about the drama, I'm not gonna talk about the drama, but I'm just gonna double check it because you are there and you watch the tournament. Is it true that the event itself is not that hype in terms of the all the publication and also the viewership in the venue, especially for Dota? Because for us, the for the people that watching it online from the live streamings, we just heard the crowd whenever the you know the representative team from Saudi, which is um, Falcon is playing, and then even though they are losing on the team fight, they keep cheering. They Some people on the Reddit also told us that it's just paid viewers on the venue. Can you confirm me about that? Because I kind of curious about that, because it's never happens in Dota 2 since, in especially in Southeast Asia. There is no paid viewership to just cheering whatever happens, even though your teams is losing, and then you keep cheering because you don't know what happens. Can you confirm that, John?
So I can't confirm because I wasn't there. Look, I was only there for the group
Oh
stages. Me and
yeah,
Mike
okay,
flew back after, so
okay.
we weren't on hand to actually see the arena they use for the
Oh,
the in
okay.
person portion. We were in like the studio setup that you saw across a lot of the esports World Cup titles. I think Valorant group stages were there, Mobile Legends
Mm,
group stages were there. So it's that same set. I will say during the group stages when me and Mike were there were a lot of people going around. There were a lot of
oh,
locals going around, and I don't think it's fair to say they were paid. I don't think that's the way it goes. I think it's more that the way the government was trying to advertise it. I think it was very aggressive
oh,
advertising for like the general audience, for the general population, right? So
okay.
they want to get more locals in. There were billboards everywhere in Arabic. You know, it's not targeted at foreigners. All the billboards that you'd see going back and forth from the hotel. Some big buildings had like
Mm-hmm.
LED billboards up of the esports World Cup. So advertising was really strong locally, and I do believe for locals, there might have been like heavy discounts to go in. Like ticket prices must have been low for
Mm-hmm.
locals. And, like what would the local know? You know, if you're a local, you see this event your government's running, it's pretty cheap, you have a good time, it's in a interesting location, almost like a theme park it feels like without rides. You get down, you don't know who to cheer for some of these games, you cheer for Falcons, right? Like
Okay.
I think that's what happened maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, at least in the time I was there were already a lot of locals. There were already a lot of people who didn't know the games that were still there with their families. You know, it became like a family outing thing. So
Oh,
I think it's just a matter of you're getting people in who don't know anything about esports, and they're
oh,
locals. They want to cheer their local team. They don't know what's going on,
okay.
but I don't think they were paid. I don't think it
Okay.
goes to that extent.
All right. All
Personally.
right. Okay, okay. Let's move and then wrap the EWC experience, and then it's a good story, I think, to share for us, the one that not going there, because I think you're lucky enough to fly there, in terms of you visit another
Mhm.
LAN event, and then also you get paid for what you did for your careers, right? And then let's continue to the things that I really want to talk about, which is the patch that we get on the 8th August. Not so long,
Mhm.
it's just almost 1 week since this podcast is recorded. We come across with the 7.39C or D. I think D. I think D.
Mhm.
Yeah, 7.39D in the last 1 week. What do you think about the patch, John? Is it garbage? Is it good patch? Is it something that you are expecting to just nerf and also buff a little bit about the heroes, or what do you think?
I think it's as sub patches go, it's to be expected. I think
Okay.
at this point, every time you get a letter patch past A and B, it tends to be a little bit more cookie cutter adjustments here and there, and whatever is strong. I don't think it's the most exciting patch in the world. It certainly does bring some possibilities back. I've heard theory crafting that with blade mill nerfs, with some of the slight nerfs to this and that, illusions are a little bit better. I've been hearing talk about that for a while though. We've seen Phantom Lancer. I've talked to BSJ. The hero hasn't been great, but he loves it. He thinks there's room for it. Maybe this patch kind of makes that reality, but it's not like a ground shaking patch. You know,
Okay.
it's not a huge meta shifting patch. I
Mm-hmm.
think again the foundations we saw before are still somewhat there. I think a lot of those heroes that were strong are still relatively strong in the right hands. Maybe we see some stuff pop out. I'm not sure if we saw any in Clavision. I didn't really watch that. I wanted to go on a little bit of a break. Had a lot of family stuff come out,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't have time to actually sit down and watch Clavision this year. But I don't expect too much shit. So
Okay.
it's to be expected for a sub patch. I think people had hopes that in the month right before the international,
Mm-hmm.
we get a major patch, and I think that's kind of what we want, right? Like there's enough leeway for teams to start scrambling for scrims and prepping for TI, but at this point, you don't expect anything. So probably post TI we get a meta shift, maybe a new hero. I'm a little bit surprised Kez didn't get added to captain's mode. Then again, I hate the hero, so I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think it's a little bit slower going. Maybe maybe after TI we get the bigger changes we'd want. Historically, it does feel like, again, that's setting yourself up to expect a bit too much. I think historically we've been getting big changing patches like a month or 2 months after TI, so it's a little bit longer than that as well.
Okay, so you expecting that this patch, the latest one, will be the patch that we're going to for going to TI? Like we're gonna use this patch, or you're expecting
Yes.
another one? Oh, so you expecting this
No.
one? Okay.
Yeah. No. I mean, there's no time. There's no time. If you drop a major full number patch now, you're gonna be in a lot of shit. Let's put it bluntly. I'm just gonna say it. You are not gonna have a good time with dealing with a player complaint. Like there is gonna be a lot of talks, a lot of messages out from these team manager, these coaches, these
Uh huh.
players that they've only had a month to prepare for what is the most prestigious tournament in our
Mm-hmm.
scene. So I don't expect a major number patch. Maybe a sub patch again, maybe, but that's also pushing it with our release schedule. So
Okay.
probably nothing until post TI.
Because based on Valve and also IceFrog behavior before the international, that will be a big patch, not just like some adding some new alphabet on the current patch, something like that, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
But
but
you have to think about the historical time as well, right? Like
yeah,
usually that's a month before.
yeah,
We are at that month marker now. I'm gonna have to work in, there's gonna be stuff coming up. We are past that month marker. So I don't know if you've got time to do that
yeah.
major patch, unless again Valve decides, you know what, let's make it spicy this year. Let's not give Team Spirit 3 TIs, or let's not see,
Oh my
whoever
god.
the heck else is dominating that they want to see. So maybe, but I doubt it. I doubt it at
All
this
right.
point.
All right. So from your perspective, how has the Southeast Asia Dota scenes evolved over the years? Because let's say after the last TI until we were going to the new TI in this year, how do you see the Southeast Asia scenes evolve?
I think it's been evolving almost backwards. It's been a little bit rough for Southeast Asia. It's like we've been growing backwards. Look, we've had some good highs. I mean, if you go back to like the DPC cycle, you think about, T1, the Animator run they had, that was pretty impressive. And then TI is a little bit of a mess. It's up and down, really. And it's been almost the same players in. Look, this TI is going to be different. Of course, we've got
Mm-hmm.
Nemesis in. We've
Mm-hmm.
got Boom in what is their fairy tale run for them, because I don't know if that org's also. I don't know how hot they are in Dota. I don't know how hot any orgs are in Dota right now. So it's very important for Boom. For Nemesis, maybe a little bit less so. A lot of TI newbies. So it's more of like a testing ground to prove themselves. Maybe a redemption arc for Akashi, considering his last TI run with Talon wasn't the most impressive either. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of hopes on him to, he's been using this kick from Talon as vindication, which is
Mm-hmm.
good, I think. But just because he qualifies now doesn't mean he can just lay about and
Yeah.
do the exact same thing he did on Talon.
Mm-hmm.
Last time around, they were at TI and just bomb out after groups. He has to aim for higher. Hopefully, he does get higher. But I don't think Southeast Asia's been healthy. I don't think it's been getting better as the years has gone on. I think it's getting worse. And I think this is very doomer talk, but this is the reality, right? Like, again, we've lost orgs. Nemesis is a
Mm-hmm.
relatively new org. I don't know what's backing them. I don't know how their systems are built up, but they are here, and that's good. With this TI boost, you would assume they would at least stick for another year. So
Mm-hmm.
that's at least one more org. I don't know how well, how their compensation works. They're a new org. They seem relatively small,
Mm-hmm.
so it's likely not what you'd expect, like players like Gabby to
Yeah.
kind of be hunting out for, stuff like that. But I don't see any return of orgs as well. I hear talks of region switching. This is
Oh.
very deep in, but there are talks of other teams coming into the region, but
Oh.
I don't know if they'd want to. I think if the reason they're switching is because they were losing money in the old region they were in, I will say they're not going to make any more money in Southeast Asia. So I don't think that's a prudent business move if
Yeah.
that is the reason, because it's like I've heard some rumblings for certain orgs, and I'm like, if the reason is cost, I know what region they're in. It's not that expensive, and to go here, it's also I don't know what they're expecting. So I don't think Southeast Asia's been doing well, but maybe it gets better. I don't. It's just hard. Esports right now is just very hard.
Okay, okay. So, do you have any? Sorry, let me change the question. So, which team
Mm.
or player in Southeast Asia currently that maybe the big team is battling for EWC that already finished, and then the other big teams will be battling in the international. But do you have any thoughts on the teams or maybe players in Southeast Asia that currently give you a little bit surprise, or maybe have the biggest untapped potential right now?
It's hard to say, and again, this is like a very. I don't like being negative. I don't like being realistic.
Okay.
Especially since I'm a front-facing personality. When I'm
Yep.
casting, it's all
Yep.
positive and all of that. But
Mm-hmm.
in reality, I would say nothing excites me. I
Mm.
don't think. I don't. I don't know how far Boom Esports will go. I would say
Okay.
Nemesis probably has the most untapped potential,
Okay.
simply because they are fresher. They are more of the wild card. They're more of the unknown. They
Mm-hmm.
run stuff that maybe teams aren't familiar with because they have no research. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Nemesis has the potential for that underdog run. Excuse me. I think Boom has the potential to surprise us as well,
Mm-hmm.
but that one's also very iffy. But I think they do have some potential. I think they're showing vision as far as I remember seeing my Facebook posts wasn't the most impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they'd had some wins, but they didn't go too far in the
Yeah.
tournament.
Correct.
So I don't know. Like I don't have high hopes,
All
but
right.
I'm not cheering for them to fail.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that, frankly, with our historic performances, these teams that are going out, even if it was Talon, I would say it's not really too exciting. I don't think
Oh.
we've proven enough. Even if
Okay.
Talon qualified, I would say the same thing. I don't think we've proven enough.
All right. Okay. So since you mentioned about Boom and also talents, let's
Mhm.
continue this conversation for something that I don't know. It's already spreading all over Southeast Asia. Top players right now in their ranked match. Sometimes I also heard the news coming from the players, this player, and coming from these players too, about the talents. Let's talk about talent first, because one of the talents players already visiting my podcast, which is Jokem, and he said that he is not sure that he will be continue with talents after the international, or maybe this season is finished. Is it and also it's not on the podcast, but I already speak to Mikoto too. He said that yeah, maybe a little bit same digit with what Jokem said. I'm not sure what is gonna be happening. So my question to you is, if talents disband or maybe rebuild their roster, is it the best way to continue the Dota 2 journey, or it's kind of another downgrading the roster for Talons, because we know Talon is kind of the gatekeeper with Boom Esport, and then the other big teams in Southeast Asia, if they do the rebuild, and then also the rebuild, it's count as a downgrade. Is it good as a brand?
Well, it's certainly not good as a brand. I think for Talon themselves, the two changes they've made, Cuckoo and Savage, which are confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Savage was always on loan. They didn't renew that loan
Yep.
from OG. Cuckoo had some choices to make, and he made those choices, right? Like, I think he gave himself this TI, and I'm not sure where his priorities lie past that for his pro scene ambitions,
Mm.
but for as far as I know, he gave himself that long. So for Cuckoo and Talon, I think it was always going to be that long. For OG and Savage and Talon, I think as well that they just didn't feel like they got enough from Savage coming back, which is fair. I think he had a good showing in Dream League to get them into the Esports World Cup, and then after it was just a complete mixed bag. For Talon, I will say, I know your players didn't mention this, but I can
Mm-hmm.
mention this. I don't give crap.
Okay.
Um, the reason why a lot of players aren't sure is because, again, I gave a little bit of a tidbit. There might be something coming in. There might be another org coming in, very similar to what Aurora did last time, and that's not something I
Oh.
particularly find impressive, right?
All
A re,
right.
an org coming in, cash heavy for whatever reason, thinking operating costs would be lower here, thinking they'd understand the region. They'll buy the star players out, and they'll try to start something new. They can try.
Okay.
They can try. Aurora's tried it. This org, if they will try, they can try. Again, I think as a business call, what they are proposing for the region they're coming from and the region they're going into, I don't think it's a cost saving measure at all.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know why this org would want to, but I know they've been in talks with players, and I know. Look, there's one big org you can poach from right now. The one org that has been consistent. It's going to be Talon. You're going to be looking
Yep.
at Mikado. You're going to be looking at Jocam. You're going to be looking at WS,
Yep.
especially WS. I think that's the hottest player
Yeah.
along with Mikoto. I love Jokam, but people always think about these core players, and
Yeah.
it's definitely Mikoto and WS. So um, that's why I think you're getting these answers from some of the players. There
Uh huh.
is a plan. I don't
Okay.
know how in lined in stone. This is something I've heard around the Esports World Cup paddock. I just heard rumblings, nothing confirmed,
Mm-hmm.
but our plans. And I don't know if it does the region any good. I don't think Aurora did the region any good. I'll be frank. I
Okay.
think Aurora coming in, doing what they did, and pulling out after what half a year in,
Mm-hmm.
or was it a full year cycle in? I forget how long they were even in this region. But for staying as short as they did, inflating the salaries as much as they did, then pulling out the way they did, I think is much more destabilizing for the region than it is healthy. So I would not want to see that again. I think I welcome teams like Nemesis starting from the ground up. Just doing their own thing, starting with their smaller ambitions, building it up, being realistic. I don't think this org is in the same mindset as Aurora, which was
Mm-hmm.
cash money, right? When Aurora came in, it wasn't just Dota. They threw money at MLBB. They threw money here and there.
Yeah.
It's not the same. I don't think this org is the same,
Okay.
but I would be weary. I'm curious to see what they do first. But yeah, I think that's the reason why you're getting these answers from players because they
Okay.
probably have offers elsewhere. They probably have offers and they're
Yeah.
considering these offers.
Yeah, yep.
You
I
know,
think I think
to
I
be
think
real.
that's true. I think that's true. And then the next one will be the team that, well, the org is coming from Indonesia, but all the players currently it's not even
Mhm.
Indonesia, which is Boom Esport. Some rumors say that I think it's not the Boom as a org that having this rumor, but Mushi as the coach of Boom Esport. The rumor said he will be retiring after this TI. This is what gonna be
Mhm.
his last TI, and that retirement plan will be affecting Boom Esport because the rumor that I heard is Gary only believe in Mushi in terms of creating a Dota teams in Southeast Asia. If there is no Mushi, some people say that Gary will not continue the Dota 2 journey for Boom Esport, and then we'll be continuing with the other game title for Boom Esport. What do you think about this rumor? I mean, I know Mushi is kind of already on the quote unquote old, but do you think the right time for Mushi to step down as a coach in Southeast Asia, Mike? Sorry, John.
Uh, well, fine. I
Uh,
think it happens. It happens a
yeah,
lot.
yeah,
Look,
yeah.
yeah, I talk with Mushi a lot. Every time we're on like an Asian LAN or when Boom qualifies, I'm seeing him at breakfast. I'm talking with him. We hang out. I
Mm-hmm.
see the team
Mm-hmm.
walk by. We have a little chit chat. And Mushi, he's a great guy. I will say this has been the story of Mushi and Boom for a long time. I think
Mm-hmm.
after their first great year when they had Yopaj, that initial roster, Yopaj, Tim's
Mm-hmm.
kind of lineup way back, Jackie when they went to Stockholm Major, they won that thing in I forget Abu Dhabi or Dubai. That tournament that year. I think after that year, Mushi was still set to go another year. And then after that year, I think he started to say, "All right, one more." One last. And then he said one more, one last again. So I think Mushi's been, as far as I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like from my understanding of what conversations have been happening behind, Mushi's been kind of ready to move on, right? Like because Mushi's a businessman. You look at his socials. He has
Yeah, yeah.
businesses. He's head of like a franchise of Bingsu in Malaysia, which
Uh-huh.
I haven't tried yet. Sorry, Mushi. I wanted to. You disappeared in Acer Predator, and I didn't have cash. I didn't have ringgit on me. So, but yeah, like he has a lot of responsibilities. He
Uh-huh.
has a family he wants to take care of. Going back and forth between Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur, for a guy with a family, it's tough.
Mm.
And I think on a personal note for Mushi, if he thinks it's time to call it, I don't think it's a bad time.
Okay.
I think it's just how far do you want to push yourself? Same thing with Cuckoo, almost, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
how long do you want to keep doing this? Do you have other priorities in your life now? Because I think if Mushi was to look back at his Dota 2 career as a player and as a coach, I don't think there's anything to be disappointed with. I think he's had great runs, he's formed great teams, he's worked with as best as he could with those players, with those teams, with what he's had, and it's just a matter of what point of his life is Mushi at. Now with Gary, I
Uh-huh.
don't know if these rumors of if Mushi leaves, Gary leaves. I don't think it's actually connected.
Okay.
Um, in my view,
All
in
right.
my view, Boom could easily run without Mushi. I think there is a very strong bond between Gary
And
and
Mushi.
Mushi. That
Oh,
is
okay.
very evident. That is very evident. He believes in Mushi. I
Okay.
don't think I don't think Gary would pull out because Mushi's gone. I don't think that
Okay.
would be the reason.
Okay.
Would Gary pull out of Dota 2? Maybe. And again, this goes back to the financials of running an org
Ah,
at this day and age in
again.
Dota 2. I mean, you look at Boom. The past year, what has happened to Boom? They went to ESL 1 Bangkok and they went to TI. If they didn't go to TI, I think this conversation would be a lot easier to say. Boom would
Mm-hmm.
probably pull out
Yeah.
because I don't think they can flounder for 2-3 years in a row, right? Because they went to TI, there is a hope that the financials can stabilize. There's enough that you're not running deeply in the red. You're still in the red
Mm-hmm.
to a certain extent, but you're not deep into it, depending on how far you go. So there is justification to keep the Dota 2 side going, but I don't know. Like, I don't think it's because Mushi will pull out.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, Gary works with a lot of people, talks to a lot of people. He
Okay.
loves chatting up with, I mean, I always see like Gary talking to Bulba. They get along well. It's like there are people that he could work with.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if Gary were to pull out, it would not be because of Mushi. That's
Mm.
in my mind, it's because of the realities of running a Dota 2 org. Why bother when you can run Mobile Legends, have higher viewer attentionship, have higher social impact, have better chance of going with advertisers than you would with Dota 2?
Okay.
Our community is just old. Our community is old. It doesn't interact with social media.
Mm-hmm.
The most we interact with as Dota 2, shame to say, is gambling. That's the
Oh.
one thing that the only advertisers that our community interacts with are sports books and
Yeah.
casinos. And that's the stark reality. And some of those casinos don't pay well to see orgs now
Yeah.
because they realize, why pay so high for a Dota 2 org, demanding this much when we could pay for a smaller Mobile Legends team that's probably going to be even more successful, give us more
Exactly.
eyes, and just
Exactly.
again have that impact. So I think it's if Gary were to pull out, it's going to be a financial thing. It's not
Okay.
anything to do with Mushi.
All right, all right. One last team that I want you to give some thoughts about it. Rekonix, the one that previously TFG and then get acquisition by Indonesian local brand, which is Rekonix. They have In Your Dreams, and then the carry is Jikroy, and then FBZ joining, and then Dalul and Faris. What do you think about that team? I mean, they just wins the first title on Rekonix, which is EPL Season 7, I think. And then, but again, the hardest teams on that tournaments is no one because I think they are on the paper they're supposed to be wins that tournament. So
Mm.
the title that they get not convince me to say that they are currently on the same tier with the Boom Esport or maybe
Mhm.
Talon or maybe Nemesis or maybe Execration because there is no team at the same level as them or maybe above them. So what do you think about Reconics currently?
I mean, I didn't know. Look,
Boy,
I've been out of
all
like the
right,
loop
man.
for a
All
while.
right, all right,
So
mate.
I'm pleasantly surprised. Can you tell me the full roster of
Okay, the
this?
full roster.
Yeah,
The first one, the position one, the carry is Jake Roy, the
okay.
Mr. 16K MMR from Southeast Asia,
Yeah.
and then In Your Dream back in action, FBZ
Wow.
back in action, Faris
Wow.
as the captain, the oldest one, the oldest player on the teams, and then the prodigy, the same package teams wherever they go, they have to be together, which is Dalu as a post four. Five of them is all Indonesian, and then yeah, they just win some online tournaments right now, win 5K
Mm.
USD, and then they will be playing as a Indonesian representative for ISF in the next couple of
Mm.
days. What do you think about that roster? I mean, some of the players is some people said it's already washed. I'm not sure it's FBZ or In Your Dream, but again, they still have a cloud to scratch people in Dota Southeast Asia. John, what do you think?
I think that's a legit team. I think
Oh
anyone
wow.
calling In Your Dream washed has to watch themselves.
Oh,
I
oh.
think anyone calling FBZ washed has to watch themselves because these guys can still play. Like,
Yep.
okay, maybe the consistency is the hard thing, and that's
Mhm.
where for this team I would be looking at, if possible, a coach to guide, right? A
Mhm.
coach that keeps that motivation up, a coach that helps keep things consistent, and I
Okay.
think that's the most important part because it feels like these all Indonesian lineups are the same as the all Filipino
Yeah.
star lineups, where it just gets really bogged down later on. Like old Boom Esports when it was all Indo. I know
Yeah.
they had a bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes. I know that team had a lot of potential, but there was a lot of clashes as well, right?
Yeah.
So you want something to balance all that back. But this is it gives a smile on my face because this is a team that I think I would look forward to seeing in
You
some matches.
should.
I would look forward to seeing them in qualifiers and in some tournaments as well. So I think it's the strongest Indonesian team I've heard of in a long time.
Oh wow.
And this is not to discount. This is not to discount like AG back in the day or
Oh.
Checkers Gaming. Not to discount any of that, but there's something about this that just feels it because Jacroy has been on his way up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, okay, maybe In Your Dream has been a little bit under the radar for a while, but he's been consistent before.
Mm-hmm.
FBZ has played in
In
on
Europe and multiple.
in professional scenes for a while,
Yeah.
yeah. And Varish and Dalola I think are proven.
Okay.
Maybe I would just say maybe Dalola should ease off the Gyrocopter 5 in some games, but you know ease off that flex because people can read it, but there's a lot of potential in this one.
All right.
It's probably the most exciting bit of news I've had. I've been very very negative on C, but that is exciting. That is good.
Wow, that's great. It's coming from my country, Indonesia, because currently they are the main topic in our community. Either either most of the community support them because they are the only all Indonesian player in the same teams, or they're gonna hate him because whenever they flop, they're gonna hate him. Yeah, it's part of the community. I cannot blame it. It's part of the community. When you are on the high performance, people are gonna expect you to lose, and then it's my time to become a keyboard warrior to flame you on the internet, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
I think I also get exciting when I heard that all this Indonesian guy back to Indonesian organization, there is still one guy that want to spend their money from their own pocket to doing a sponsorship. That I know all these players will not ask for small money in terms of a salary, right? But
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
there's still one guy that believe in Indonesian player to create the super teams, and then I hope they gonna win something else, not just only not trying to backlash EPL, but again, the last EPL guys, you guys don't have any like opponent that sitting at the same level, right? You name it. Who is it? Team call 911. I don't know. Well, like you say, in your dream and everything's and everyone on the Reconics, it's on the paper should be win the tournaments, right?
Mhm.
All right.
Yes, we
So
should.
let's calm a little bit about the topics here, John. I want to ask a little bit personal and also fun question, but of course it's not something that you have to avoid because I just want to have a one quick fire first, which is
Okay.
what is your favorite teams, favorite players, favorite patch, and then current favorites tournaments? Go on with the favorite teams. Not have to be from Southeast Asia. You can pick whatever.
Favorite team. Favorite team.
Uh huh.
Off all time,
Yeah.
like in
Up to
any
you.
iteration.
Up to you. All of the times, current year,
Okay.
current season. I don't know.
No, okay. All time,
Uh huh.
honestly, probably TI winning EG. I think
Oh.
that was perfection. Maybe if not, then Digital Chaos that went runner up.
Ah,
So either
yeah.
or. I'd go EG. I
Mm-hmm.
have a NA Pride, I guess. Favorite
Favorite player.
player. Player is a hard one,
Uh huh.
but as a support player, I will say as a support and offlane player, it's either Universe or PPD.
Ooh,
Legitimately, because
the
I
old
remember,
player.
yeah, way old. Like PPD, I was watching him stream, and
Uh huh.
support Nix wasn't so popular. He was doing it. I was like, huh. Because I came from, at that time it was still relatively close to Dota 1
Uh huh.
and used to run Nix mid with Dagon. So it's like watching him, it's like, wow, Nix support really does work. And I started doing
Ooh.
it. And it
All
was fun.
right.
And Universe, of course, offlane, because his offlane faces Void, his offlane plays, and yeah, it's Universe. For
All
me,
right.
that is the offlane gamer. So
Okay.
those are the players. Tournament
Favorite tournament.
of all time or of
Yes.
this year?
Uh, you can pick all of the time or maybe current year again, same as the favorite teams. How you pick the favorite teams?
Hmm. Favorite tournament of all time, Manila Major. For sure, 100%.
Oh
There's no
God,
questions asked. Of
the
course, it's the
bias,
Manila Major.
but
Yeah, I mean, come on,
I
come
do
on.
agree,
That is a
but I
great
do
tournament.
agree. I do agree with you because there's a lot of people involved on that tournament. Even the Game of Thrones star
Yeah,
will is their Hodor and
yeah.
the story of the tournament. It's perfect. I mean, like I have to agree with you too about Manila Major. But do you have any specific, you know, let's say the most memorable moment on the Manila Major?
I mean, it was just everything, you know.
Oh
It's
my
all the little moments.
god.
You had Nahaz tossing the book out. You had a lot of moments with the crowd. The fact that every day the Reddit thread would be like, "Gee, you know, like the player boots were unusable. Like the
Yep.
noise cancellation was useless because it would rumble."
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's every single one of those stories. The content pieces they did.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ari Neiman trying to teach Tagalog to like OD Pixel,
I do remember something. Nah. Yeah,
nakakapagpagabagab,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
stuff like that. Uh,
Nakakapak, nakap. Okay. What is
nakakapagpagabagab
exactly
or
that
something like that.
means?
I forget. I'm not. It's not a word I use.
Oh, really?
Filipino that much.
All right,
Yeah,
all
I
right,
think
all
it's
right, all right, all right, all right.
but yeah, stuff like that. So it's all of that. I think we had the Manila Major rap as well with
Mm-hmm.
ODP there rapping. So I mean that was
Oh,
just a beautiful tournament. I
yeah,
think
yeah. I
that
agree.
really was like the most beautiful tournament outside of one of the old
Okay.
school TIs. You know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So let's wrap this podcast with
Hmm.
something that I want to give some maybe not advice, but also not literally predicting the futures. But where do you see the Dota 2 Southeast Asia scenes heading in the next 3 or maybe 5 years, John?
Oh, 3 to 5 years is hard to call because a lot of things could still change, and there's still
Okay.
like two trajectories Dota can take
Mm-hmm.
in the local scene in Southeast Asia. I think, well, three directions really. The first path is stagnation, which is what we currently have, and which is
Mm-hmm.
what we've had for like 2 years, where our player numbers and C stay the same. We're not losing players. We're not making new players. The next trajectory is that the scene grows somehow. Interest comes back in for Dota 2.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something crazy happens in a tournament. Maybe a bigger tournament comes out, bringing eyeballs back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe something crazy like a battle pass comes in, and our prize pool goes back to 20 million, and that gets interest back. Or like I still am somewhat optimistic that at some point this younger generation that has been playing Mobile Legends and all of that stuff, at some point that market will be tapped and
Ooh.
they will start to play MOBAs on PCs. At some point, I think that transition can happen. So there is a lot of potential for growth.
Okay.
The issue is there's been at least like 5 years since COVID, and that hasn't happened yet. So I'm not sure if we
Oh.
will. And the more depressing point, which I think is actually the least likely, is that Dota regresses. Player base goes down, players start to drop out. I don't think. I think this is the one thing that's beautiful about the Dota 2 community.
All right.
Once you play Dota, you don't really stop
Uh-huh.
until you die. No one really
Oh.
fully stops Dota. I mean, a few people do, but the vast majority go back, check the game, maybe play one or twice when a new cosmetic patch comes out or a new event comes out. You play like 5 games, or you go back into it, but you're never fully gone. And I think it's very unlikely for that interest to ever fade. I think Dota is just special in that way. That as a game, it just drags you back in no matter what. So I don't expect the Dota 2 scene in Southeast Asia to ever fall behind. But yeah, realistically, it's either going to stay the same or it starts to grow from people moving on from like Mobile Legends and mobile games. The issue is, again, it's been 5 years since that launched off. We haven't seen that interest switch yet. So I'm not too optimistic either. But hopefully again, like more people start to see what Dota has to offer. More people start to watch, like, excuse me, some of our streamers who are
Mm-hmm.
entertaining. Maybe like Dato Leong and his fun videos. That guy is
Oh.
like very entertaining. I just feel like people need to know Dota is a fun game. You can
Mm-hmm.
go into a computer shop. They still have them. And you can still play it. It's free. All your
Mm-hmm.
heroes are unlocked. There's no grinding. There's no buying of gems or whatever the heck to
Okay.
get your characters up. So yeah, I think there's always room to grow.
All right. All right then. I think it's done. Thank you for your times, John. I mean, multiple times going back here, we always have a good discussion here. I'm happy that you are already back to shortcasting again, especially on LAN event this
Mhm.
year. Are you gonna fly to the international?
Well, No, but I can't
Oh,
comment on what I'm doing for it either. But I'm certainly not going to TI. I'm not
oh,
heading out.
okay.
So
All
very
right.
unfortunate, but maybe we have some stuff going on here.
All
It should be
right.
all right.
Hopefully, because the international still will be the main event of the Dota 2 as an annual event. Okay. So, John, thank you so much for your times. I'm gonna close this up, and then we will talk again with a different topic. Of course, with maybe if there is a new rumor or maybe a new team in Southeast Asia. Bye, John. See you next time.
Bye, Dejit. Thank you.
All right.